What's up, guys? Today we're going to replace the passenger side headlight motor on this thing, but before I get started with that, we got to get it cleaned up. Now that we got this thing all cleaned up, let's get going. So you can see I didn't wash it that great. I didn't open up things. This isn't a thorough cleaning. I just need to get the outside of this thing cleaned up to make it presentable to drive. So it looks much better though. So this is the headlight we're gonna be working on. But before we get started on this now, I gotta try something else. So remember how my voice sounds now. Alright, so I'm always watching my videos and trying to figure out how to make improvements and stuff, not going, big cinematic improvements, but making little adjustments here and there. So one thing I've noticed is the sound quality on my videos sucks. I've noticed that before. So if you notice, like if I'm walking around here and I don't know how loud you can hear me, but sometimes I forget to yell at the camera when I start getting really far away over here. Now if I'm working over here, and I really start forgetting, then you probably can't hear me very well from this far away, unless I yell. So, to hopefully fix some of those issues and make videos a little better, we're gonna try a microphone. Now I use an iPhone, this is an old iPhone XR or 10R, whatever you wanna call it, I believe. So, what we're gonna try here is one of these Amazon, I don't know what they call them, lapel mics or collar mics or whatever. So this is the unit. It's got a little charger on there. This is the piece that'll be on me. And then this piece here has the lightning connector, and this is the one that's gonna go on my phone. So, is there anything else in here? It comes with a single headphone. I'm not sure how or why I would need that for this. But anyways, brand-wise, here we go. This is the Lee Reel. So I've seen, there's a bunch of reviews online. You can go and look at more professional reviews if you want to see if it works, but we're going to try it out right now. All right, we're all hooked up here. Is that annoying? Can you hear that? So I got to play with it to make sure it's not rustling on my clothes as I'm doing stuff. But yeah, this is it. Now we can walk around. I can talk about stuff. I can go outside. I can even go over here and look, around the corner. No, nothing there. And I can work and do stuff on the camera, and I can talk to you from way over here without yelling, and you won't get the echo of me, all over the place like you normally would. So let's do this. All right, as I mentioned earlier, or before in previous videos, these headlights got stuck up. One of them got stuck up, so I forced the other one up and just left it there, pulled the fuse. So the reason this headlight came up and stuck is this motor right here. So this motor is cooked. If you can see, it's loose. There's supposed to be a knob on the end, and then the knob is covered by that. Just like that side. That's got the rubber cover on it. Okay, so when this headlight got stuck up, first thing I did over here is I come over here, pulled the cover off, Hold on, we got some noise coming by. Okay. So, yeah, I pulled the cover off, and when I pulled the cover off, the knob came off with it, and it was completely melted. And, yeah, I can't really tell now, but yeah, the knob is just a plastic knob that slides over the splines, and you can manually open and close the headlight. So the knob came off. Bad. So I believe I've pulled this out before, and I've tried to look at it, and it's cooked. There's no way to fix it. It's not the common gear issue. So I have a new motor for this. So let's open that up. Okay, so I ordered this thing on Summit Racing. I had to get the expensive one because all the cheaper ones are out of stock. I've heard that's an issue on the forums. So here we are. Hopefully you get what you pay for, and hopefully it's better. Already says made in China. That's not a promising sign. There's my receipt. I don't get a sticker with this one. What we got in the box? Just like the picture showed. So this is the new headlight motor. You can see it's got the knob on the back. It looks great. It's nothing fancy. I don't have any D-pin tools for these WeatherTech connectors, so I'm going to figure out how to get that working. But yeah, it should work. Alright, so the only thing that's going to be holding this thing on is there's 3 bolts here. If you can see all 3 from there, I don't know if you can. Looks like they have nuts on the back side, so that'll be fun. And then there's a nut holding the rod that controls the headlight as it goes up and down. And obviously the connector. The first thing I'm going to do, just to give me some more room, because I've never done this before. I remember I took it apart at one time, but I don't remember exactly what I had to do. It's been a few months. So there's a couple screws here, a couple screws here. We're going to pull this black bezel off of the headlight here, just to give us some more room to work around there, because I think we need to get to it from the inside so we can, get around to the back side where all the nuts and everything are. I do remember getting this black thing off. Might be a little bit of a struggle. So just be careful not to scratch the paint or anything. That's kind of why I wanted to wash the car before I did this, so I didn't have a bunch of dirt being ground into things. So that comes off. You can see there's 2 screws there, 1 screw there. And then we got a little bit more room to work in here. Tempting, I can pull this top cover off if I wanted to. I don't know if that's necessary. It will give me quite a bit more room, I think. Pull the whole headlight out would be kind of nice. I don't know, I'm going to look at it a little bit and see what I want to do. Alright, so we are going to disassemble this headlight a little bit. I'm going to pull this top cover off. Only thing you got to remember is you're going to have to readjust it if you do this route. But now I have some custom headlights coming for this thing that are going to replace everything inside of here, I believe. So the 2 screws on the back, and then 1 there, and 1 on that side. Let me get that off. Okay, we got those 2 extra screws off. Let's see if this thing comes off. Just like that. Obviously don't want to scratch it. Oh, look at all the room we got now. Now we're getting down there. And this is what it looks like with the cover off. See, we've gained a little bit more room. I'm going to see if there's an easy way to get the whole headlight off. Alright, so I'm starting to feel like it's not doing what I wanted it to do, so I'm going to stop there. I think we're just going to fight to get that, get the motor out the way it sits. I think we got enough room now to work it. Alright, so those main hold down bolts look like everything's 10 millimeter. I'm not sure about the lever, but yeah, I think we can sneak it all out the way it is. And the final 3rd one here. One thing I never actually verified is if that motor matches up to this one exactly, if it's mirrored correctly. Guess we're going to find out now that we're pulling it out. Oh, that's way down there. I need that. Ah, don't drop it again. This motor's sitting in there like that. This is where the lever attaches to the little gear drive motor. So I got to get that nut off down there. Yep. It is a 10 millimeter also. It's not on excessively tight. Let's see if the lever just pops off or what. I assume the headlight's going to want to fall back down then too. Oh yeah, everything's loose in there now. Screwdriver straight down there. Give it the old pry. There it goes. All right. And it falls right off. Yep, just like that. Now, we got the motor out. If you notice, if I spin the end here, this isn't moving at all. So there's like a major failure in there, which caused it to just, I think, constantly run and never actually do what it was supposed to do. And then it just died. To where this one here, if I spin the knob, I don't know if you can tell, but that nut is starting to move. Now, if you'll notice, the new motor comes with this. That's not exactly helpful, but that's the way they had to do it because you can see this wiring harness splits off into multiple locations. I think the cheaper motors actually came with this entire plug, and then it came with new, because I believe those go down to your headlights, the headlight bulbs and stuff. So I don't know, pay more money and then you gotta do more work. I'm not sure how that works, but okay. Just use a little box cutter to cut this electrical tape holding these together. Now we got that. I have to remember, I think I can do this, how to get these out. I just don't know where the tools are that I need for that. Alright, so to be able to do what they would call de-pin this connector to get those pins out. Now, they have special de-pinning tools specifically for all this stuff. Basically, if I remember right, let's see. If you look at this, look at your new ones. There's a little, sorry, I'm trying to get to focus here. There you go. There's a tab on the inside there. I believe that's what's retaining it because it's going to slide in, click in, and then not be able to come back out. Now, to be able to do that, I have these. There's a full set of these, different sizes, different shapes. These are actually for testing. You can put a multimeter in there, and then you can like probe connectors and stuff like that. But they also work for de-pinning. So I believe I'm going to be sliding this in down the front, and I'm going to be engaging that little tab, and it should release, and they should pop out. Now also, I'm going to put it on video so I can see it. On mine, the green is on the outside, and this, I believe it's brown, is on the inside. This has, okay, gray. Green and gray, so the wires match, so that's a good thing. So you just need to remember where they go, and then I think I also need to pull off this little end cap. I'll find another screwdriver for that. Pocket screwdriver, always have these around, especially when you're working on a dealership. So I need to get this cap off. You can see it retains on the edges there. And that will allow the, that just slides right off. Probably forget to put it back on. Alright, so green on the outside, I gotta remember that. So I can see the tab in there. Looking right down in there, I'm gonna be putting it right down there. Now, definitely don't need this. Something actually fatter would probably work a little better. I might be able to actually use screwdriver. Screwdriver's a little too big. You get the bigger tool. I believe yellow was the biggest one they made. A little bigger. Try to get that in there. Try that one. That one actually almost moved a little better. Yeah. So the gray one came right out. Okay, back at it. There we go. Just popped right out. Just like that. Now to put them back in, you're just going to slide it in and they'll just click in. You don't have to release anything. So, there's our old motor. Alright, let's put it back together now. So, you can see we got our two empty ones. These red deals, those are the seals. Keeps the water from getting in there. So these connectors are completely waterproof. That's why they're really good for aftermarket stuff. If you really get into getting nice stuff, see how it has a seal here. There's going to be seals on the backs of the wires, and there's seals on here, so it's completely sealed. They call it a weather pack seal. Thing down. Green one on the outside. Make sure you put it in correct direction. And look at that. Clicks right in. It's retained. Next is the gray. It goes in. Listen. Little tiny clicks. Now, I believe, I don't know if these seals need help or not. They look a hair different. I'm just going to stuff them in there a little bit better. I don't remember what the procedure is on getting the seals in. I don't know if they're doing much in there, but they're in there. All you have to do is go like that. And we're all connected back up. So I'm going to leave some of this wiring a little loose for now. I'll clean it up afterwards because I want to make sure this actually fixes the issue. So now we're just going to put it back together. The reverse that we took apart. Alright, so one of these screws, the silver screw, is a little longer. I don't know if that's factory. It almost looks aftermarket, like somebody lost a screw. But there is one spot that looks like it needs a longer screw to begin with. So I'm going to put these bolts in. Because remember, you can't get them out once it's mounted in there. So we're just going to slip them in like that. But now we got to get that lever on there. Alright, so I struggled. We cruised this Corvette right into Struggle City. But I think we're getting it now. Alright, so the problem is with these Chinese parts, this shaft is too big. It was just a hair too big, like a couple thou too big, really. I think it was about 10 thousandths, actually. So I couldn't get, I pulled it up on top. This is normally hanging down below. I couldn't get the flats to engage on the inflats on that. So I carefully took a file and just filed it down a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. I cleaned up this just a hair as we went too, until we got to the point where it still has to use the nut to get on, but it's going to go all the way now. I'm not going to lie, that kind of sucked. So when you're using these Chinese parts, double check everything fits first. So if you're doing these motors, make sure this shaft fits that before you try and fight it down underneath there, because that was just a pain in the butt. But we're at the point now where we will start putting it back together now. After our little fiasco there, so I put the motor back in place. I just loosely installed all the nuts and bolts. I don't have the lever on yet, but I want to run one of these down snug just to hold the motor in place where it needs to go. Alright, the headlight motor is back in. See, it's right there. That's what we're working through. I have a dark spot. At this point, before I put the rest of it back together, I'm actually going to turn the headlights on and see if they operate. If they're all good, then we'll put all the covers and stuff back on. Ruh-roh. Okay. Well, that's a cool trick. All right, just to recap, we replaced this headlight motor. The motor still wouldn't operate properly. It would close, but then the motor would keep running against the stop, and the motor would get so hot it would start to smoke and get extremely hot, so I have to disconnect it. It didn't matter if the key was on, the ignition switch was on, the headlight switch was on, it didn't matter. This motor always ran. It was just running, getting hot. So I had to go research, and was hoping it was just a stuck relay, but these don't really have relays for that. They have a control module. So I found the control module and found a lot of people that have some issues with them online. And so this is the piece that you pull off. It's actually mounted right below the headlight there. You kind of have to reach underneath there with those two bolts. Take the whole unit off. I'm not showing you everything yet. And one thing people always notice is the back cover on this is always popped up. It's just the crappy design that GM used. This cover is actually warped. It doesn't seal, they get water in them, whatever. And so this is the circuit board I pulled out. I think that's my issue. So looks like I need to find a new headlight control module. Yay. And they're really expensive. And we're back. It has now been about a week. Actually, it might be 2 weeks now. It's been a little minute since we last worked on these headlights. When we left off, obviously our headlight control module was bad. So we got that. I'm gonna try and pick up where we left off and get this thing fixed up. Hopefully this fixes it. This is the new unit. It's not a GM unit. It's not marked. It's kind of an aftermarket thing. They are not exactly cheap, but hopefully this fixes everything now. And in case anybody's gonna ask where this came from, I got this from Zip Products. I think they're called Zip Corvettes or Zip something or other online. If you search for it, it might be one of the first ones that pops up. So we got that. They're out of Mechanicsville, VA. Was that Virginia? This is where we left off real quick. So I had put the headlights down. I got I think the fuses pulled out of the motors in here. So I just need to get this headlight back up. So we're just gonna do the manual crank thing. We just do this and you see they rise up. So you just go all the way up until they stop. And then I can reach in there and hopefully replace that module. All right, we've got the new module in there. It's really hard to get into from the side. You have to pull the plastic bezel off again. But we're back in, so I'm gonna manually lower this headlight and then let's test it. Almost forgot to put the fuses back in, so let's do that real quick. Super speed. That is these two guys over here. Oh, sorry, up here. Just like that. I'll leave that off for now. I'm an idiot. I forgot to plug in the two connectors on the front of the module. Let's do that also. All right, take two. All right, looks like we finally got it. So what I ended up having to do is on the new headlight motor, I had to switch the two wires that we previously pinned into the connector. I could have swore I did those correct. I'm gonna go back and look at my footage just to make sure. But being, you know, garbage parts basically, it's possible they did the wire colors backwards. So everything seems to be working now. The motors are not continuously running. They're going up and down and the headlights turn on and off. So we are done. All right, so everything works. The only thing I gotta say is the new headlight motor is a lot faster than the old one on the other side. So unless I wanted to replace both of them at the same time, I can't really deal with that. So I'm okay with that because the only time I care is when they're open or when they're closed. So if one's gonna come up a little faster than the other, oh well. But we are done, finally. Now we can move on to something else.